what's going to happen here hasn't ever happened in any other city. I think that people are really beginning to rethink whether or not this is the most appropriate location for these casinos. The way that this whole casino industry has been sold to us is that we need this tax revenue. I don't think that the justification for trampling all over democracy and the rights of people and the waterfront in general, I think it has huge potential, and I really think the casinos destroy that. For instance, for the last 2 years, I've been working to try to convert the Pico generating station just north of the Sugar House site, built by the same architect who did the Franklin Institute and the Free Library of Philadelphia, one of Philadelphia's most iconic architects, into a museum, potentially for the Calder Foundation, which was one entity that was very close to building an $80 million facility in Philadelphia on the Parkway until it fell apart. That's the sort of world-class recognition that Philadelphia needs. That's the sort of world-class project for a waterfront. Look at Chicago, Millennium Park. I never really had a great interest in going to Chicago until Millennium Park. All of the news stations, Good Morning America, Today Show, they all did their broadcasts for almost a week from this park. That is what brings money and investment into cities. You can't put it on a balance sheet. You can't measure it. But everybody knows that that sort of development, promoting good waterfront development, museums and parks, that is what will enhance the quality of life here. That is what will bring more money from New York. That is what will help stop the brain drain. That's what the waterfront should be. It should not be dominated by big box casinos with no windows and an 8-story parking garage. It's not good waterfront development. When I met with Randell, I said, these sites have been land banked. You announced your intentions for gambling in the early 90s, and there was a gold rush to buy these properties. And to sit there and say that you haven't been able to bring development to the area, well, it's a flat-out lie. The reason why development hasn't come to these waterfront sites is precisely because they've been waiting. And it's well reported in Inquirer and all these different publications that they're waiting. They're land banking these sites for gambling. And I think that Philadelphia Magazine, with their article, exposed some of the major issues in how this legislation was passed, whether it's constitutional, and how it got pushed through without any public input. On the eve of July 4th weekend, people should definitely be questioning their public officials if they're not adamantly fighting to get these casinos recited and to make sure that this whole process is happening appropriately. I was born and raised in Northern Liberties. Obviously, I have a very long and deep connection to my neighborhood, and I've been excited to see the sort of redevelopment that we've experienced. A lot of the changes are good, and it's brought a lot of new families, which is, I guess, my primary concern for locating a casino. No amount of money that the casinos can give us will ever mitigate the sort of harm that it's going to do to our community. And I don't really think people have a really good idea of what the chessboard looks like. And they're starting to realize, hey, maybe it's not a done deal and we can have some influence there.